Hey everyone, the numbers are in for the July real estate market, housing and condos in Panama City Beach, Florida. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Want to go through some numbers pretty quickly for you here to show you what I'm seeing. First of all, last week, I usually do all this on the very first of the month. I'm just digesting this now on, this 8th of the month. Sorry, I'm late. I was asked to speak at a real estate conference in Southern California last week. Interesting conference to attend. This was any real estate company under the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services brand. So not only Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, but Long and Foster, a number of other brands. There were probably 650 CEOs and agents out there to talk real estate. I was asked to speak on a panel about some things, but it was interesting to hover around 2 days of hearing different agents and especially CEOs of some pretty large companies talk about what they see in the market, what they're hearing in the market. So I wanted to share with you, before we get into the local numbers, a couple of things nationally that I thought were pretty interesting. So keeping currents matters. I've referenced this in some of these videos before. Sorry, before we start, make sure, if you haven't already, we already have had a big push for video to make you a smarter buyer or seller in this market. Please like the channel, subscribe, share this with anyone you know. We're going to really make a big push, continue to push to get a lot of information out to you about the market, where prices may be heading, those kind of things, to help you make better decisions. So anyway, back to some national numbers first. Keeping current matters, if you see it down at the bottom of the slide here, is a service that is selling or is aggregating information to real estate agents to help them communicate to their customers. A lot of it is national information, but I thought they had a couple good slides worth sharing. I'm always asked, hey, when's the best time of year to put a house for sale? When's the best time of year to put a condo on the market for sale? And this one I think is really interesting. Over the last 48 years, and I'll show you the next two slides to give this some context. Over the last 48 years, what is the average price movement per month on real estate? Now, again, this is very general, very national, but I'm going to drill this down in just a minute. So if you look at it, not surprising, March, April, May, June, what you always hear about it being the spring market in real estate, is where we've seen historically the most price appreciation over time. But I think what's interesting and what a lot of people fail to remember or think about is we're writing contracts all throughout the year. People are buying and selling real estate for all kinds of different reasons all throughout the year. So on a 48-year average, we're seeing slight appreciation to more appreciation per month across the board. If you compare 2022 with that 48-year average, sorry, I feel like I'm in space here. The point of this slide is right when interest rates began to spike, right in here. 2022, remember, we're coming off a really, really intense couple years since COVID, a lot of appreciation monthly, and you can see it in the orange bars there. Interest rates spike and you see what happened. The orange bar representing 2022 shows that we actually had price depreciation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the last 6 months of 2022. But the point of them showing this slide to us was that they wanted to give us some context for 2023, which is sorry again, my trackpad's a little sensitive this morning, or I just haven't had enough coffee yet. The point of it is 2023, if I can zoom in enough where you can see it. Okay, I'll stop. No, maybe I won't. Okay, is to show that trend continued early in the year, but look at March, April, May again. Those months traditionally, remember from 2 charts ago, that showed that, of course, our spring market is where we see the most appreciation generally. Well, look, once the market got used to what's going on with interest rates, sort of accepted them, March, April, May of this year was a pretty healthy market across the board. And that was no different for us. I think if you've been watching any of these videos, I've been talking about that up until June or July. It's been a surprisingly healthy market. The condo market has been slightly on a seller's market side of thing. Housing has been pretty robustly on the seller side of things. So let's look at July numbers and see exactly what's happening in PCB. General numbers are good, but the local numbers are really going to tell us a lot. I'm surprised. Well, I'm not shocked, but it's interesting to see what's happened with inventory in the condo market. We'll start with the Gulfront condo market. We'll go into the housing market. We're going to look at the Gulfront condo market 3 ways to start. So remember, months of inventory in real estate, 5 or 6 months of inventory represents a neutral or balanced market. You guys have heard me say this a lot. Theoretically, it would take 5 or 6 months to sell out of whatever it is we're analyzing. That's the normal pace of things. If months of inventory is lower than that, that's a hotter market, more of a seller's market. You would expect more price appreciation there the longer we stay there. If we go over 6 months of inventory, you're now starting to get into buyer market territory. It's a little more sluggish. The longer we hover there, there's serious pressure on price depreciation. So in the Gulfront market, again, we're going to look at this 3 ways, but we had gone from 1.98 months of inventory. Remember back in March, we were talking about a surprisingly good market still in spite of all these headwinds. We moved up to 3.2, 3.6, 3.7 in June, which we've been talking about that, hey, we're still surprisingly good, but well, looking at the July numbers, we've spiked to 9 months of inventory. There's a few things going on here. And I think if you've seen any of the videos over the last month or so, or you're in our Friday newsletter, you've heard me talking about this. July can be a historically slow month for condos for a few reasons. First of all, most of the condos in our market are short-term rentals, and that's the hottest, heaviest part of our rental season. So even a buyer who's even very serious about making a purchase has a very difficult time, if not impossible this time of year, to actually get in and look and evaluate at different units. So even if they want to buy, the process is usually put on hold because we just can't get in consistently enough to show things. It wouldn't be surprising into August, certainly September, that we have a little pent-up demand from July, people who wanted to do some business, who put their trips off to August, September, and we see a little bump there. But since July was a pretty slow month, look at what's happened. And remember, these are also looking at numbers going back, sales numbers that are going back 30 days. So July was a pretty slow month. It'll be interesting to see the August numbers, but we've spiked very quickly to 9 months of inventory. That's the market putting on the brakes. And if you go back, look at this chart again. This is going back to December of 2020, and look at how this line's moved. Just very generally, slight moves up and down. Look at how big of a move in a short amount of time that is in the Gulfront condo market. Now, there are a couple of different sub-markets within our Gulfront condo market. Right now I have it broken down to before 2005 and after 2005. That's a little general, but it'll get you the idea. So let's look at the market on units built before 2005. The number spiked from 2.6 to only 5.59. So interestingly enough, the older condo market in PCB is right about neutral or balanced. So if you're selling something, it's sort of the normal pace of things. You don't have a lot of price pressure. It's certainly not a hot market, but as long as you're priced in line with recent sales in the building, you should be probably selling in a normal amount of time, which right now is, well, we'll give it to you right here, hovering around 47, 53 days, which is still, that's pretty fast really for real estate. If that was 100 or 110, I wouldn't be surprised. But check this out, newer buildings. Anything built since 2005. Remember, we had all that wave of construction back in 2000, really ultimately 6 and 7. Look at what's happened to this market. That's the days on market. Look at the spike in the months of inventory here. We've gone from 1.96 in March, 2.92 in April, 3.74 in May, 6 in June. The signs were there. Look at the spike here. 18.4 months of inventory. Theoretically, that means it's going to take us over a year and a half to work through the entire market. That's slow. That's sluggish. Well, no, that's beyond sluggish. That's slow. We're going to have to pay a lot of attention to see what happens with that over the next 60 days. The longer we hover there, that's some serious pressure on pricing for anybody who wants to sell. Again, asterisks by this, because the month of July can be slow, and we're looking at all those charts and data, we're sort of looking back 30 and 45 days at a time. If we see a pickup in August, I'm showing condos tomorrow. If we see a pickup and we write some more contracts, that number can adjust pretty quickly in the other direction. But that's a pretty serious number to pay attention to, especially if you look over the last 2.5 years. We haven't been anywhere near that. Let's talk housing for just a second. Whoa, one more thing. So you've seen me, if you've seen any of these videos recently, you've seen me talking about Altos Research, which is just another service that's aggregating all this data for us so we can try to help make sense of what's going on. They weren't quite as worried about this change. Their market action index, which is just a number they've put together based on some of the numbers they're tracking, only shows the condo market going from 32 to 31, which on their scale means we're right on the edge of seller or buyer market territory. If we subscribe to that, what they're saying is, and they're probably being optimistic about this, is that all the rest of the data that they're analyzing shows that still towards by the end of the year that we're going to maybe absorb what we just saw in that big spike, and things are going to continue right along. In fact, he talks about in his videos a lot that we're going to end the year slightly up in appreciation compared to where prices ended last year. We'll see. Locally, that was a pretty big move in July, and so my radar's up there. Okay, let's talk housing for just a second. Let me pull up my chart for Panama City Beach detached single family. Now, certainly here, this is a general number, because this takes in new construction, this takes in 40-year-old homes, this takes in all the different price points. We're working on a transaction right now at $250, and we've got one closing tomorrow at $3.1 million. So there's certainly subtle differences in all those different price ranges. But simply, months of inventory, which had been at 3 in March, similar story to the condo market. It's moved up, but it's only moved up to 4.58 generally. If we look at Altos's numbers, it's a little bit more of a seller's market. If you look at these, just look at this market action index for just a second. If we look at the condo market, you see it's a little more neutral on this, close to this 30 line, which is the number they made up for neutral. Housing is a little bit stronger of a seller's market. And if you look at the data just from July, that really stands out, because, 18 months in newer condos versus, what number did I just say? 4.58. 4.58 in housing is still pretty healthy. Now, I'm working on a number of resales, and as I'm thinking through them, the $3.1 million that's closing tomorrow has sat for a period of time, 10 or 11 months. We were pretty ambitious on the pricing out of the gate and worked through interest rates spiking and all that. They now have 2 offers on the table. So interesting that in that market and for that property, that some interest has come along. I'm working on a few in the $500,000-$600,000 range that are starting to sit for a little bit of time. Those houses are directly competing with a lot of the new construction we have in Breakfast Point, Ward Creek, some of the other parts of the beach. New construction note, just that I thought about it. Be on the lookout. We'll certainly announce it, but probably this week, potentially the announcement will be delayed till later, maybe early next week. There's a pretty big announcement for a new home builder coming to the market in Panama City Beach in a very interesting location. Keep an eye out for that. I'll let you know as soon as we're allowed to release that. So short version, housing market is softened in the summer, which isn't unusual. Remember that very first chart nationally, we have less appreciation throughout the rest of the year. But one of the points that was made again back at this national conference is a lot of the headlines you're reading right now is that we have not year over year appreciation is way down, but they're not saying that prices are depreciating. And so I think that's an important part to watch nationally. Locally, there's a little pressure out there. Our resales, we've just dropped the price on one of those resales yesterday. We might have been a little ambitious on price there. I don't see that market with what I see in new construction. I don't see builders. I should rephrase that. One national builder has real estate commissions. If you sell a house, it's an 8% fee. They have, I can't remember the number I heard, but it was something like 300 plus homes they have sitting in the Panhandle. They want to sell some inventory. So anytime you see a builder give incentive like that, you know that they're stressed a little bit. The condo market for sure, especially the newer condo buildings. Let's keep an eye on that. Certainly the new condo law is having effects. I'm working on a closing right now in an older condo project where the mortgage broker over a 3-week period has had to go to a number of lenders to try to find someone who will do the loan, because this particular condo project doesn't have the new structural integrity reserve study done. And that's not due until 2024, but this lender is still nervous about it because there's this new law to pay attention to. That's very much going to affect things going forward through the end of this year and certainly 2024. So I think the entire condo market, between that and everything happening with condo insurance, is there are a lot of things to navigate there. So let's watch that number. The next 60 days will tell us a lot about whether we're just going to we're resetting and it's going to be a softer market in condos for a while, or is this just our seasonal spike, a month or two of a little soft, and then we sort of get back to doing business, taper off the end of the year, and then get ready for a spring market the next year. So there's 17 minutes, 15 seconds for you, a little longer than I anticipated. Oh, last pro tip. I haven't gone into specific sales in your condo project or your neighborhood recently, just because I know so many of you have signed up for our e-alert service. For those of you who don't know, a really excellent way to keep up with real pricing where you want it. It's a free service from us. There are no commitments. I can send this information to you once a week, once a month, however you want it. But essentially, anytime something comes up for sale, it changes price, or it closes, the information straight from our realtor system goes right into your inbox. It's an email we send out. It's actually automated through the system. So if you want to track all the activity in a certain condo building, a certain condo project, if you want to do just 1 bedrooms in a condo project, just 3 bedrooms in a neighborhood, we can do any of that. So it's an excellent way to stay up with accurate information. This is all coming through our realtor system. When something closes, it's the actual sold price and the sold date. It's not what your neighbor said they sold it for or what your friend said he sold his condo for. So if you haven't signed up for that and you would like to, let me know, because I also send specific updates about that condo project or neighborhood to you. I hate email. I'm not a big, I don't like to spam people, but it's just to try to keep you informed of what's happening. Again, we can reset this so that you get it once a week, once a month, whatever you prefer. That's it. 18 minutes, 53 seconds longer than I had planned, but I hope you found this helpful. We'll be back next month to see how this market's moving. Thanks for watching.